Hey everyone, welcome to this free training. Hopefully you're having a great start to the year 2026 as we're kind of ending things here in the month of January. Today we're going to be talking about 5 boring ways to double your website leads in 2026, how small changes compound into real results. The fact is we all want leads. If you're a business, it's probably a little bit more obvious because you need actual leads in the pipeline to turn into customers, whether they're purchasing your products or purchasing your services. But even if you're a nonprofit, you need people that are going to be volunteers, people that are going to donate or partner to your organization. Churches need people that are going to actually show up to their physical location on a Sunday morning. And so we all want our websites and our marketing systems to actually convert and to do what we intend them to do. However, in the year 2026, more than ever before, there's competition. There's lots of websites for lots of organizations that are very similar to yours. And the fact is, attention right now is fragmented. Trust is declining. Visitors are skeptical and impatient. People are deciding faster than ever. There used to be a time when you could actually keep somebody's attention in that top part of your website called the above the fold section for, 10 seconds or 15 seconds. These days, studies are showing it's below 5 seconds. People are already making informed decisions whether they want to continue scrolling and clicking on your website or if they're going to get bored, distracted, check out, or go somewhere else. And we don't want that happening. By the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Brandan Ritchey. I own a creative agency called Ritchey Creative. And this is really what we're all about. We are a creative agency that leverages intentional creative services to help our clients do more good. So kind of camping out in this do more good section right here, we believe businesses are doing more good because they're solving their customers' problems. Nonprofits are doing more good. They're feeding the homeless. They're making their community better. Churches are doing more good. They're connecting people with Jesus and, connecting people with discipleship and other relationships. But we believe that this is the key, intentional. If you're not actually being intentional with your marketing systems, with your website and everything else, then you're not going to be able to do as much good as you would if you were being intentional. So intentionality is important to me personally. This is a photo or a couple photos from me basically 10 years ago, close to a decade ago. And I was dozens and dozens and dozens of pounds heavier than I currently am. I had a huge wake-up call because my finances were a mess. My faith was a mess. I'm a born-again Christian, and I wasn't spending time with God the way that I should have been. My friendships, my family, I had to borrow rent money from my mom one month. I paid it back, but it was embarrassing. And I asked myself, what is the actual thing that is keeping me from losing weight and being successful with my money and with my relationships? And it really came down to discipline. I was lazy. I was on the proverbial and the literal couch all the time, didn't want to get up, and I wanted to just do the easy thing. Dave Ramsey has a quote that says, adults devise a plan to follow it, children do what feels good. And that's what I was doing. If I didn't want to do something, I didn't do it. I did the easy thing. I took the easy route all the time. And what we're seeing, just being in the trenches every single day with people building websites, building marketing systems, is it's so easy to get in the trap of doing the easy thing, using ChatGPT to build your logo, picking a Squarespace template, changing out your logo, and then boom, there's your new website. It's easy, it's cookie cutter, but cookie cutter doesn't get the results that you want to get. And so cookie cutter web design and marketing is a thing of the past. You need an intentional strategy. So intentionality, super important personally, but also important professionally and in a business context as well. So we need to be intentional with what we're doing with our websites and with our marketing systems. By the way, stick around to the end of the video. I want to give this out for free. It's the blueprint for the perfect website. It's just a free PDF download. I'm going to give you guys a QR code at the very end of the training. But essentially, this will help you think through and build out intentional systems for your homepage so that you can actually have a better chance at collecting lead information instead of just having visitors come to your website and then bounce and go somewhere else. But here we are in the year 2026, and a lot has been changing. Visitors are scanning, so they're not actually reading all the copy and all the content that you want to put on your website. They're expecting clarity instantly. If they don't know right away who you are, what you do, or why you do it, they're going to bounce and go somewhere else. They abandon quickly when they're confused. So again, lack of clarity is a big no-no. It's a big danger zone. And if there's trust missing, they hesitate. People need to feel like they can trust you. And a big way to do that is to show empathy with the actual copy, the content, the photos, and everything else that you're implementing on your website. This is a really interesting study by Nielsen Norman Group Research. So you can see this chart here, but essentially what we're looking at is the time right here on the x-axis of the time that somebody is actually visiting the website. So 20 seconds, 40 seconds, 60 seconds on the website. And this on the y-axis is the possibility of leaving the website. So you can see it's super high right here in the beginning, in the first couple of seconds. And the longer that somebody's on the website, of course, the chance of them actually bouncing and leaving and going somewhere else declines. But what it shows us is that it's that first initial seconds, those first couple of seconds that somebody's on your website, that's when it's the most volatile. That's when people are actually deciding to click out and bounce and go somewhere else. If we kind of read from their study here, it says, it's clear from the chart that the first 10 seconds of the page visit are critical for users' decision to stay or leave. The probability of leaving is very high during these first 5 seconds because users are extremely skeptical, having suffered countless poorly designed web pages in the past. People know that most web pages are useless, and they behave accordingly to avoid wasting more time than absolutely necessary on bad pages. So again, the first impression, your website is the virtual front door to your organization, regardless of your industry. So we want to make sure that initial first couple of seconds of them on your website are actually going to be compelling enough for them to stick around. So if we go to the next page here, these are the things that we hear all the time. Hey, if it looks professional, it'll convert, right? It looks professional. The problem is there's a lot of website templates that look professional, but there's no call to action strategy. There's not photos of actual humans, but instead we're looking at pictures of random stationery or laptops. People will figure it out. That's another myth that we hear all the time. Oh, we'll just put all the content about our organization, and then people will just kind of figure it out. People aren't going to spend the time figuring it out. You need to be very, very intentional with the way that you're laying out all of your information so that it's easy for them to figure out. And then we also hear more text will help. If it's not clear, let's add another paragraph. And if that's not clear, let's add another paragraph. Again, people aren't reading, they're scanning. And so we need to be thinking through how can we be as concise as possible and as compelling as possible with as little text as possible. Okay, so here we go. 5 boring ways to double your website leads in the year 2026. And first, it's important to answer the question, why boring? And so the big reason for that is we believe that there are so many gimmicky things out there, so many shiny objects, new software, new solutions, especially with AI, there's so many different things that you could purchase subscriptions for that you feel like are going to be like the magic pill. But success is not a result of a magic pill. We know if we want to lose weight, you can't do it by just taking a magic pill, right? It's hard work over time, being at a caloric deficit and being active and exerting energy. If you want to have success in finances, again, there's all these different things. Hey, you can invest in this one company. And yeah, that might work sometimes, but it's like winning the lottery. And so, if you really want to steer away from something that's so volatile and actually have a proven plan that's going to work, the financial example would be the stock market, just putting a little bit every single month, consistently, month after month, year after year. And then in 30 years and 40 years with the power of compound interest, boom, that is how you can retire, with dignity. And so in the same way, we don't want shiny objects. We don't want just all these new bright solutions that seem crazy and sexy and fun. We want something that's actually proven and that is actually going to work. Okay, so hopping into boring tactic number 1, there's going to be 5 of these, but the first one here is photos that create emotion. Now, I know this might sound like common sense, and it kind of is, but you would be shocked how many business websites, nonprofit websites, and church websites I see every single day that are not leveraging the right kinds of photos in the right places to create an emotional response from a website visitor. So again, the right kinds of photos, they tell visitors how to feel. They show the visitor in the story so somebody actually can see themselves in the photo. They take away the fear of the unknown, and then human-centric photos connect. We live in an AI revolution, and there's so much AI stuff. And ChatGPT, you can kind of tell if AI makes something because it feels a little bit off. It feels kind of different. So again, photos of real, smiling, happy people that are engaging with your nonprofit or going to your church or that are purchasing your product and using your product, that's the thing that's going to elicit the emotional response from somebody. So just some examples here. This is one of our clients, Erica. We built this website for her business, Elevated Vacations, and she wanted to basically help. It's a kind of a high-end travel agency, but she wanted to basically tell her clients and customers through photo, hey, this is your getaway. This is something that can take away your stress and your friction. And so we helped her, with copy, content, call to action strategy, all of that. But specifically, we wanted to showcase video and photos of happy, smiling people that are on their dream getaway, on their dream vacation, because people are going to see themselves in those photos. One more example here from a church context. This is Calvary Chapel Greer. And previously, they had lots of photos all over their website of their church building and what it looks like inside, but there weren't as many humans. And so again, we want to humanize the experience, showcase people in connect groups and small groups at events, because again, number 1, it's going to elicit an emotional response where they can see themselves in those photos. But number 2, it takes away some of that fear of the unknown. Hey, I know some of the faces. I've already seen it. It's going to make it that much easier or that much less stressful for me to actually show up on a Sunday morning. Okay, boring tactic number 2. call to action strategy. So every person that visits your website needs to know the next step. They need to actually have a really clear button that's kind of funneling them from the homepage into something else. And then there's two primary pieces of real estate that we're going to talk about in just a second for including a call to action. And then we want to make it clear and compelling language. So let's hop over here to the different pieces of real estate. There's actually two that are the most important on your entire website. One is top right corner. Basically, that is where the eye gravitates toward when it's ready to make a decision. So on an e-commerce website, you're going to look for the shop button or the cart in the top right corner. Or on a nonprofit website, you might look for the donate button. Or on a church website, you might look for the plan a visit button. But again, top right corner, that's a huge spot. And a lot of people aren't putting it there because they might feel like clutters up the header a little bit. But in your header, typically you're going to have your logo, you're going to have your nav bar, you're going to have a call to action button, and then you might have social links or something like that. But one of the most important things is call to action button, top right corner. And then underneath that, you want to have, of course, your clarity statement in the above the fold section. I'll show you an example in just a second. But then underneath that clarity statement, you want to have another call to action button. So if we go over here to this site that we helped to build for fin seekers, they're an offshore fishing charter that takes people on fishing adventures and fishing expeditions. But you can see, again, top right corner, we have book your adventure. You can see this book your adventure underneath the clarity statement as well. So again, these are the two spots I was referring to. Even if we go back to Erica's example from earlier, top right corner, let's get started, underneath the clarity statement as well. And then even on this church website, top right corner, and then underneath this clarity statement. So the key there is a couple different things. One is you want to have these call to action buttons in the right spots, but also clear and compelling language. So you can see for this Fin Seekers website, it doesn't just say like book, or it doesn't just say sign up or something like that. It says book your adventure, because again, that's even eliciting an emotional response in the language used in the call to action button. So, hey, it's an adventure. It's making somebody feel like they're actually doing something more than just going on a fishing trip. They're going on an adventure. Here's another example of a really great strong call to action: get a free quote, because it's showing an outcome. If you click this button, you're going to get a free quote for, us building your custom home. This is Sadler Homes. They're a custom home builder and another client of ours. And again, helping them just think through a call to action strategy and making sure that we're putting buttons in the right places has really helped them to actually funnel customers or visitors down a pipeline on their website that then turns them into leads and then eventually customers. Okay, boring tactic number 3, hyperlink mastery. This is the one that you're probably already not doing. And the reason I say that is because I look at hundreds of websites every single month, and it's the one that people just aren't doing. And so on mobile, this is especially critical. 70% of people are coming to a website from a smartphone or tablet in the year 2026. And so you can imagine if I'm scrolling down and I get to your footer where your phone number, email address, and your physical location are, it's probably not hyperlinked right now. And so what that's going to make somebody do is they're going to have to either copy and paste it with their thumb, that phone number or that email address, or they're going to have to manually type in the address in Google Maps. So if you hyperlink it to a Google Maps link or an Apple Maps link with one tap, boom, it opens up Apple Maps or Google Maps, and they're headed straight to your location. But again, this reduces friction. It signals legitimacy. And so it feels a little bit less like scammy if everything's just hyperlinked. I've been to websites before where like the social media icons don't link to anything, and I immediately, like a red flag goes up in my mind, like, oh shoot, is this like a legit website or is this some sort of scam? And so again, make sure everything hyperlinks the right way, particularly contact info in the footer or on a contact page, because again, we want to reduce that friction, make it super easy for people to do what they want to do, which is again, probably calling or getting directions or emailing your brand or emailing your organization. Here's an example of a footer for a church. It's one of our clients as well, Graceway Baptist Church. But you can see here in the footer, they have their actual physical location, they have their phone number, they have their email address, but all of it's hyperlinked. If you hover over it and click it, boom, you'll get directions to Apple Maps. Boom, you'll call them. Boom, you'll email them. So again, you want to make it as easy as possible. It just reduces some of that friction for somebody to actually do what they want to do in the first place on your website. Okay, boring tactic number 4, the clarity statement that most sites miss. So here's the thing. It's so common for businesses and churches and nonprofits to try to be just so clever. We see it all the time in the church world where they use insider language like reach in, reach out, reach up, but nobody knows what that means, especially if they're not a churched person. But even businesses as well, they say just very like generic, general things, or they say something like, we've been in business for over 70 years, which is great, but we don't know what you do. We don't know who you are. Or they say something like, we have the best customer service in Lakeland, Florida, but we don't know anything about your business or your nonprofit or your church if you're using that kind of language. And so again, we don't want to be clever. We want to be clear. And so clear statements actually are the kind of statements that are going to convert on a website. So if they don't understand it, they won't act. So here's the clarity statement framework that we recommend for most websites, pretty much all websites, is we want to answer 3 questions in one sentence. Who are you? What do you do? And how does it benefit your audience? And so here's an example. This is actually straight from our book, The Website Strategy Roadmap. By the way, if you're interested in picking up your copy of the Website Strategy Roadmap book, I'll have more information at the end of the training, a link where you can purchase that as well. But here's an example of a clarity statement. So Highview Solutions is a premier roofing company. If that's all it says, okay, we know that you're a roofing company, but we don't really know like what you're all about as a roofing company or like what makes you different than a different kind of roofing company. So then if we kind of take it a step further, and we tacked on that offers hassle-free roof repair services. Okay, now we know that this is new construction, or it's not new construction, but it's repairs, hassle-free roof repair services. But why should I care? So if we kind of tack on this next part, so that you can get back to making memories in the home that you love with the family you love. That's the emotional benefit. So that's the thing that's going to actually resonate with somebody more than anything else. So if you look at the entire clarity statement, this would be kind of a really good example. Highview Solutions is a premier roofing company that offers hassle-free roof repair services so that you can get back to making memories in the home you love with the family you love. So again, it's really clear what kind of company it is, what they do, and why they do it, or how it's going to actually benefit their audience or benefit their customer in the long run. So again, whether you're a church, a nonprofit, or a business, you're doing something and you are actually adding value and doing more good, but highlight it. So many organizations are just being very generic or very vague, right? Especially in that above the fold section of the homepage. But we want to be clear. Even if we look at some of these examples here, Sadler Homes has a great one. Sadler Homes is a family-owned custom home builder in Central Florida, creating beautifully designed, expertly crafted homes with hands-on attention from the first phone call to the final walkthrough. So again, these are all examples of how you can actually build a clarity statement that answers those questions. Who are you? What do you do? And how does it actually benefit your audience? Okay, moving on to boring tactic number 5, testimonials that remove fear. The fact is, people trust people. And again, especially in this AI age, we actually want to see the human benefit that people are talking about in relation to your organization, because that is the thing, as somebody scrolling down a website, that's going to kind of get somebody that's on the fence off of the fence into actually committing to your brand. And then proof reduces hesitation, and they answer unspoken objections. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. This is an example of what we did for Erica at Elevated Vacations, creating basically like a rotating carousel of reviews that are basically built into WordPress, built into her website. And they, a little bit more design with iconography, and you kind of have a little bit more control if you build it in the actual site. But on our website, we have an embed from Google Business. And so it basically just automatically feeds in anytime a new Google review is added. So that's something that's a little bit more hands-off and a little bit more automated. But the big goal here is you want to have social proof. You want to highlight great people that have had great experiences working with your great organization, because again, that social proof is the thing that's going to get somebody that's on the fence off of the fence, and it's going to actually do a great job converting people into actual donors, visitors, and customers to your brand. Okay, so boring tactics work over time. Again, we're not chasing shiny objects here, not a new software, not a new solution, not anything that's going to be volatile. But basically what we're saying is we want to implement some things that are proven, some things that from a strategy perspective are going to actually move the needle in terms of website strategy. So again, just a little highlight here of what we talked about: emotion eliciting photos, clear calls to action, hyperlinking contact info, compelling clarity statements, and strategic testimonials. If you want to kind of take the next step here and really put an intentional strategy and put in the legwork and get off the proverbial couch in relation to your website strategy and your marketing strategy, there's a few different things you can do. One is downloading the free resource for the blueprint for the perfect website. You can scan this QR code. We'll put that link in the description as well. But again, great resource, doesn't cost a dime. And essentially, it's just going to help you walk through the different sections of your homepage and what type of information you need to be including in which section. The second thing here is coaching. This is one of the best ways you can actually support the channel and support our agency as well. well is just one-on-one coaching with me. We'll sit on a Zoom call together, and we have lots of different coaching programs. This QR code will take you to our coaching page where you can see pricing and a little bit more information about each of our coaching programs. So again, there's a lot of different coaching programs there, but we can help you think through anything from building a lead generator that's actually going to get leads on your website to actually building a larger scale website strategy from scratch, and then anything in between. So you can scan that QR code to learn more about coaching and see all of those different coaching programs. And then the other way here, which is a little bit lower ticket and a little bit easier, would be just getting the book. So we wrote the website strategy roadmap because we know that there are businesses, churches, and nonprofits that want to actually have impact in the world. They want to actually do more good in the world. And it's hard to do that if you're not intentional. And so this book, basically from starting the book all the way through finishing it, will help you build an intentional website strategy for your specific audience and for your specific organization. And so you can get the book by scanning the QR code here or visiting websitestrategyroadmap.com. Okay, so there you have it, 5 boring ways to double your website leads in the year 2026. Hey, if you need help building something intentional, feel free to reach out. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy this format, and you want to see more training videos like this in the future, let me know in the comments. Remember, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Stay creative, and we'll catch you next time.